I'm here with James at Run-In, and I just bought a brand new pair of shoes. I'm super excited. It's always a good day to buy a new pair of running shoes. And so I wanted to ask you, if somebody's coming in here and they've never bought a proper pair of running shoes, what is the process that you would take them through?
Yeah, so we normally greet the customer when they come in, ask what they're looking for, see if they would like to be fit. We have this great device, Albert, which we normally scan people's feet, and that can help get their size down. Running shoes always fit a little different than your regular shoes, so we always want to get the size down, and this will give us that good information of that, show us where you put your pressure points, so that can help us figure out if you need like a more cushion shoe or less cushion. You know, just ask general questions about what the purpose of your shoes are, what they're used for. And then we tend to also like to watch people walk to see if they overpronate or if they're neutral or supinate. And what that is just basically your ankle motion. And depending on what kind of ankle motion you have, there'll be better shoes for that than others. Then we'll go in the back, pick out a few shoes for you to try, and make sure that they're all fitting well and that they're good cushions. So we'll ask you kind of your perception of the shoes and how they're feeling, and make sure that you're having a positive experience with them. But overall, most of the shoes that we are bringing out, if not all of them, should be very good for you. You just have to narrow down to the fit and comfort that you like best. So normally we suggest whatever feels most natural and comfortable on your foot.
Okay. And so, the purpose of coming to a proper running store instead of going to like a big box store and just picking something off the shelf is, like I always say, when you do that, that's like picking a one-size-fits-all shoe.
Mm-hmm.
And every foot, every step, every stride is going to be different. And if you've ever had a one-size-fits-all t-shirt, you know that one size doesn't fit anyone.
Yeah.
And so we all know the old song, your foot bone's connected to your leg bone, connected to your hip bone. This can cause problems all the way up the body if you're not running in the proper pair of shoes. And so what are, as a runner and as as someone who is a professional with shoes, we'll say, what are the most important things to look for in your own personal pair of running shoes?
So essentially what I just went over, like we will fit you for the right support, and then you just got to find that overall best fitting shoe. So depending on whether you want a wider toe box or if you want something more narrow, it's just kind of up to you. But coming here compared to going to like Dick's or Academy Sports, they have a lot of different shoes. Some of those shoes don't have the cushion and support that our shoes carry, and you may be buying the wrong type of support for your foot. So we will narrow down the support that you need, and then we'll be able to help guide you into that case, and then it's just an easier way to really find what you like.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, perfect. Well, thank you for talking with me today. Yeah. Thank you for sizing me for a new pair of shoes and all of that. Like I said, it's always a good day when you buy a new pair of running shoes. It's always exciting. I'm hoping to be able to beat the rain today to give them a good test drive.
Yeah.
Well, the rain held out and I got in a great run. I did a few miles with my new shoes. They're absolutely fantastic. Run-In, you did it again. You put me in the perfect pair of shoes. Got in a few miles and a little interval training, a little fartlek training. If you're not familiar with that, it's just random intervals of sprinting, jogging, or walking. And so it's kind of fun to do. And I wanted to try out my new shoes over distance and speed. They're great. So now I'm gonna go home after my little cool down walk. Gonna grab some good food. Remember, post-exercise, it's best to eat carbohydrates and proteins in a 3-to-1 ratio so we can rebuild the muscles that we broke down and we can replenish the glucose and muscle glycogen. So if you need new running shoes, always, always, always shop local. Always, always, always shop at Run-In. They'll do you well. Be well.
We're gonna do one take.
One take, yeah, one take. That's gonna be perfect. So I'm here with Dane at Run-In. We'll follow up from the brand new shoes that I got last week. I absolutely love them. They're absolutely perfect. Today, tell us a little bit about what you do here at Run-In, like your position here with Run-In and all of that, and then I got a few other questions to ask you as well.
Let's do it. So my name's Dane Simmons. I've been with the company for 9 years now, manager operator. And long story short, I'm a shoe guy in town.
Right.
Yeah.
You've been my shoe guy for a long time.
Yeah. It's been a while. Yeah, long while. Yeah.
Yeah. So since I was in my 20s. All right. So what I wanted to ask you today is, first off, the people who follow my social media know that I'm really big on sustainability and lifestyle choices that are better for the earth and things like that. So I wanted to ask you, what direction is the shoe industry heading with sustainability and sustainable choices and whatnot? And then how are you also at Run-In helping with sustainability and choices?
Yeah, of course. So great question, hot topic, super, super important. So a couple of things. The shoe industry as a whole, they're trying to get to a spot where, because running shoes create a lot of waste, just in general, the process of making them, of physically having the shoes, because unfortunately the shoes have a lifespan and they need to be replaced. So for example, this is one of the first sustainable shoes we got. This is called the Reebok Float Ride Energy. If you guys can see it there, check it out. It's pretty cool. Okay. So what this shoe is they have made. This shoe is made with at least 50% plant-based materials. So I know that they use eucalyptus for the upper, natural gum for the bottom, and they use castor bean in the toe.
That's really cool.
So it's really cool. So I imagine if they're at 50% now, it's only a matter of time before they're making a 100% plant-based running shoe.
Perfect.
So that's kind of cool. Most of the companies are doing that. There's some other companies out there, for example, like On. They're coming out with a subscription-based program where they send you a shoe, you run in it for X amount of miles, you send it back, they recycle it. And it goes on and on and on.
Does it?
Yeah, so it's not this shoe, but this company is very innovative in getting to that point.
Perfect.
So we're pretty excited about that. So the industry's getting there, and we're getting pretty close. As a whole, so Run-In, what we do locally, we try to do as best we can. So we get a lot of wasted cardboard boxes, so of course we recycle those. Same thing, a lot of the shoes are still shipping with some paper, things like that. Of course we're recycling them.
Yeah.
Biggest thing you can do, let me grab this right here. We have a big bin here, which I'm sure most of y'all have seen. This is our Shoes for Sharing bin, okay? This is a local organization here in town. So what we do, you drop your old shoes off. Our buddy Mitch here in town, he cleans them up, sanitizes them, and we give them to the local homes. So we go to the local soup kitchens, make sure that they have shoes to wear. We also do Special Olympics, so we make sure those kids and those athletes have some shoes to wear, because a lot of times they don't.
That's wonderful. My brother was actually in the Special Olympics. He placed 4th in the world for golf.
Oh, get out of here. That's awesome. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
That's so sweet. And so we just make sure, so even though you have shoes and you think they're worn out, there's more use for them.
Right, there's a little bit of life in them.
There is. So we clean them up and they stay local. So it's very awesome. And we donate just this bin here, hundreds and hundreds of shoes a year.
That's amazing.
So yeah.
Well, now I know where to take my old shoes, because I definitely have a closet full of old shoes that I've been wondering what to do with.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that I like to repurpose things, and I've seen things where you can, nail them to a tree for a birdhouse and things like that. But I always felt, like you said, that they had a little bit of life left in them.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not good for my purpose anymore. They're not good for distance running anymore, but they're perfectly fine for someone else to keep their feet warm and keep them safe.
Absolutely, 100%. They can always be used for something.
Yeah,
We just
absolutely.
have to find that person.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's great. I love to hear that. I love to hear the direction that the running industry is going in, and absolutely how you're helping out the local community as well.
Yeah.
You've mentioned a few times about the lifespan of shoes. So how do we know how long shoes will last? Because I know I'm really bad. I just kind of wait until I have knee pain again, and then I'm like, oh, I should probably buy a new pair of shoes. That's not the best. So how do we know by mileage, or can we tell by the tread? How should we tell when it's time to buy a new pair of shoes?
A little bit of everything. Great question. Number one question we get. And why that's so important is the shoes do have a lifespan. And if you run past that lifespan, that's when you kind of get those little injuries, your knees start hurting, your hips start hurting. So we want to track that. The most generic term or mileage, that's kind of like car tires, 400 miles on a pair of shoes. Once your shoes hit the 400-mile mark, you really need to be aware of your runs, and that's when those little injuries can come up. Okay, so each shoe's different. Some people get 300, some people get 500. So it just really depends. Everybody runs a little bit differently. Each shoe is different.
Right.
The other thing is, again, depending on what you're training for and how many days a week you're running, say between 3 and 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's a range. You're like, well, that's a long time. That's
Right.
3 months to 6 months. But that's the difference of, are you wearing them twice a week or are you wearing them 7 days a week?
Right.
Right. The other thing that's a little tricky is, even though these are running shoes, let's say you go to the gym in them. Well, you're walking in them, right? That's not necessarily running in them, but you're still putting wear and tear, right? So you just got to be mindful of that. So a couple of things. I'm going to see if I can show you guys on the camera here. So this particular shoe, okay? I don't know if you guys can see that. It's pretty worn here. But what we do is we do a couple tests. We do a squeeze test on the shoe. If it feels like a squishy marshmallow, the shoe's worn out.
Okay.
Believe it or not, before the tread over here wears out, the inside of the shoe's going to wear out. Okay?
That makes sense. It's softer.
It is, right? The other thing is...
I've just never thought about that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. The other thing, a shoe is supposed to naturally flex this way.
Mm-hmm.
Once a shoe is when we call it dead on the inside, it'll flex that way. And it's not supposed to flex that way. Your foot doesn't flex that way. All the internal cushioning is pretty much shot in that shoe.
Okay.
So generically, 400 miles, 3 to 6 months.
Good. That's awesome. So, we've covered then the sustainability of the shoe industry and how the shoe industry is moving toward more sustainable choices.
Of course, yeah.
And when to know when you need a new pair of shoes.
Yep.
I need to personally be a lot better about that. But then the last thing I want to know is what sort of things are going on for runners in the community.
Yeah.
So, runners of all different levels. So are there any clinics or running groups or things that we can know about and participate in?
Yep. So now we're hopefully, fingers crossed, we're approaching the end of COVID, so we can start to gather again and really do groups. There's a lot of groups here in the Upstate. Upstate Running Club, Greenville Track Club, and then a lot of the local stores have their own group runs. We're going to start our group runs up soon, so make sure you check in with our Instagram and Facebook pages and all that. And then I know we're going to be partnering with you, and we're going to be doing all kinds of clinics and things. So I'm trying to think right now off the top of my head. There's the iRun group that meets on Saturday, the organized group run for all levels. And they just started back. They took almost a year off because of COVID. And then Upstate Running Club, they're meeting on Wednesdays right now.
Okay.
But those group runs are about to expand very quickly now that we can start to gather again.
Yeah.
And the weather's getting nice. Everybody's been itching. They've been cooped up for almost a year.
Right.
We need to get back outside and get our fitness back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then my last question for you is, it's one of my favorite things, and we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier between you and I, but what is your retort when people say, running's bad for you?
Yeah. my favorite. Running will ruin your knees. Right.
Running's bad for you, and my thing is, I always said it, I've said it a million times, running isn't bad for you, you're bad for running.
Yeah.
So how you're running, your shoes, what you're running on, your form, things like that, that's what's bad for running. We're meant to run. So what's your retort to running is bad for you?
How much do we have? A couple hours to go into this right now. But in short, it's your body was made to move. From my experience, the people that sit on the couch, they have way more issues than the people that are getting out and running.
Absolutely.
Running is great for the body. It's more importantly good for the heart. The heart is a muscle; it needs to be exercised. So you can't. You can never skip leg day, right? You can never skip cardio.
Right.
Cardio is so important. As long as you're out there and moving your body, that's what's key. Now you can always fine tune things. Make sure you're in the right footwear. Make sure you have the right gear. Make sure you're not overdoing it. And that's why coaches like yourself are so important to help people safely and in a healthy manner do that. So
remember the 10% rule, guys. You never go more than the principle of overload is you never overload more than 10% of what you're already doing. So if you run 1 mile, you don't run 2 miles the next time. You run about 10% longer or 10% faster than what you were running. That's safe. So remember the 10% rule.
I cannot recommend it. And the worst thing is everyone, we see that you get a new pair of shoes, you're so excited. You're like, man, I'm going to go run 10 miles. And then, your feet hurt, your knees hurt. You just got to take baby steps. And up here, you got it. You got to let your body catch up.
Right.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
You got to wait for this time. The time for the adaptation, and the adaptations will absolutely come. And you hit a really good point of you can't skip leg day, you can't skip cardio day. Those two things are great because strength training, supplemental to running, is absolutely essential. But then cardiovascular training is absolutely essential to our health and wellness. And you know, everybody says, "Oh, if I want cardio, I'll lift weights faster," or things like that. And that's just not how that works.
Correct. Yeah.
You know, as from the American College of Sports Medicine, we have 5 metrics that we use for health, and that's muscular strength, muscular endurance, cardiorespiratory endurance, range of motion, and body composition. Got to get all 5 of those, guys.
And running is great.
Running is great. Running is it's so great, not just for your body and for your heart, but also for your mind, for your total wellness.
Yeah.
We've spoken about this a few times as well already. Running can be social, so it can get you friends, it can get you into social wellness and things like that. And I've been a runner since I was a kid to clear my mind. I'm 36 years old, and I'm like, I need to go for a run. Not necessarily because I need to go for a run, but I need to go for a run. And so, you know, it's good for your overall fitness and overall wellness and health.
Correct.
In general.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, man, thank you. It's always good to work with you.
Absolutely.
So, COVID elbow bump.
Yeah.
And we'll be doing more together and partnering together again in the future.
See you guys.
Bye, guys.